Hi there, I'm Andy Fuller of Design Ball, and this is the brand foundations my clients use to create a successful brand that builds authority and attracts your ideal clients. So this is obviously just part of a longer presentation that I've been building out together. It's about an hour long that goes through the 5 steps. And today, I'm just going to go through the 2 of them, the first 2 essential brand foundations that you need to use to really get you clear on your brand before you even start doing the logo and the designs or websites or anything like that. So let's get started. So before we go any further, I just wanted to take a quick second to introduce myself and who I am and why you should listen to me. So I'm a brand strategist and UI UX designer, user interface designer, with over 12 years experience. And I set up Design Ball 12 years ago just to cut through all the corporate brand bull and help small businesses, startups, growing entrepreneurs like you create targeted brands and digital platforms that basically build businesses. So I've worked with hundreds of brands, including Microsoft, Intel, Roland, as well as set up and launched 2 startups. And I've also, over the years, I've been working and studying some of the top marketing mentors online, and I've had mentors offline as well, locally. And I'm always learning and applying the latest design and brand strategies. And I've also won a few awards for app and logo design competitions. So that's me. So straight into it. As most of you know, if you haven't set up a business, it's never been a better time to start. Why? Well, you can create a website and a design a logo yourself because it's all available at the click of a button. I just had a recent client come to me with a mobile app that designs their own logos. Now, that's brilliant. They've got a quick way of visualizing what they had in their mind. But obviously, it's just a low-res version, and they had the certain skills. So we needed to sort of take it a step back and really get to understand them. And what we've done is create something amazing for them. But that's part of what I can help with. But as we go through this, I'm going to explain. It's easy to get set up, as we know. But here's the problem. Everyone's doing it. So while it's never been easier to get your message out there, it's so much harder to get anyone to care about you. You've got to break through all that noise. You've got to beat the competition. You've got to stand above the competition. And, you know, you've probably tried it, or you've probably set up a logo, like I said. You've created a website. Maybe tried out Facebook pages and LinkedIn and put up some videos on YouTube, or written hundreds of blog posts and sent out promotional emails. But, you know, it's not really working and no one's really listening or responding back. So what's the solution? Well, the first foundation in your brand, the first one that I always talk through with my clients, is to set up your brand story. Now, what is that? So your brand story is what makes you unique. And it's impossible for anyone else to copy because it's you, and it's you and your startup, your business passion and your baby. And it's going to explain why you exist and what motivates you to succeed in your business and in life and everything. And it's really important to understand that. And without one, your clients, customers will find it hard to understand and get that emotional connection with you. So let me give you a quick example. This is a great brand story of how we helped Lee from Body Me and build his brand and everything. So his story was back in 2011. He'd set up Body Me, and you can see here he'd done okay. He'd got a graphic designer in the past to put together a logo and a basic e-commerce site that he'd got through a template system. But he was struggling with tough competition out there in that industry he works in. So we needed to get his unique story and passion through, because it wasn't really being clean showly through his website or any of his marketing. So when Lee approached me, we worked through his Body Me brand messaging. We updated the logo mark, redesigned the body me packaging and created a bespoke e-commerce website. So we went through those steps. The first step was to look at the existing design and the logo, and they were okay. They just needed a bit of refining and tweaking, and to make that all align with his overall brand story and his messaging. So rather than having to spend loads of money on a costly rebrand for the sake of it, wasn't needed. I said to him, the logo's good, it just needed tweaking. So we went through and obviously looked at his strap line, which wasn't really looking great. So fonts and the messaging, and we updated it and just cleaned it up. And that strap line made it the sort of cornerstone of his brand story and how he messaged it throughout his marketing and his branding. So this was live natural, love life. So we went through and created the guidelines and the templates and developed his brand voice. So this was part of his voice that we reflected in his packaging as well as on his About Us page, and really brought out his personality and brought it into his brand. And it was giving that energy, the healthy living and healthy planet, and his desires and needs to build a business with integrity. And ultimately that engaged the emotional connection with his customers, and the value just increased. So eventually the final website launch, after we put all these pieces together and clarified his vision and put him together a big tool set of templates that he could take with him with the guidelines, and he could take control of it himself. So with the website and the launch and the brand and everything, instantly, within a few weeks of launching, he started increasing sales online, offline, through his exhibitions, and it's been a success. So just to clarify, branding and your story, it's the process of creating your true story. And so that differentiates you from your competition. It's impossible to copy, and it'll help you direct that communications and your branding over time, keeping the consistency, but you're also still staying true to your brand's identity. So the good news is that half the work has already been done. It's just hidden away in your company's mission and your values and your history and the reason for existing and why you started. But this is also true for your customer's brand story. And this moves on to brand foundation number 2, and your clarity and your reason to understand your client's brand story. So what is that? Now, our brains are hardwired to remember stories and movies, and it's much easier rather than bullet points. If you've ever been in a PowerPoint presentation with 15 bullet points in a tiny type, everyone starts falling asleep. So the brand is nothing more than the story that your customers or clients recall when they think of you. And your customer's brand story is made up of every single touch point of their experience with your brand. So it's up to you to map out every single touch point of their experience with your brand. So seeing a clear picture of how each scene should unfold. So going back to that importance of developing your brand story, this is also true of your customer's brand story and how that resonates with your ideal audience. So you really have to put yourself in the shoes of your client or your customer and understand what their pain is, what their pleasure is, what are their desires, what makes them tick, what makes them keep awake at night sweating. So to give you an idea, if you really go step by step, this is a classic storyline thread that you've probably seen in movies and books. And it starts off with, once upon a time, there was a character, so your customer, the hero, who wants something or needs something as a desire, but he always had this problem. So they tried to solve this problem themselves and wished that they could find a solution. So one day, a guide comes along, that's you, and unlike their solution or their trying it themselves, this guide offered them a plan of action and helped them to avoid failure and walked them through the steps or actually did the process for them. And ultimately their wish came true, and in the end they became successful. They found the girl, the princess, they saved the day, they increased sales, they did everything. So the outcome at the end was successful. A good classic movie is Star Wars. So Luke Skywalker was the hero, your customer, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is the guide. And he meets him and shows him the way and guides him to ultimate success. So here's another quick recent brand project I want to show you to clarify how we go through the brand story. Now, I4C is a new cash flow modeling product built by financial planners for financial planners. Now, their existing logo and website was obviously struggling to work. They just start up a year before, and they had a logo from 2 years before, which was adapted from 4C, as in to I4C. So originally it was 4C, and they added the I for interaction or something like that, I4C to extend it, and they added these combinations. But it wasn't really working with their new brand mission. They just had a new investment. They were looking at a targeted audience with their new messaging and what they wanted to get through. So the existing website and user interface wasn't working, and they didn't really have any good testimonial customer stories, which when we researched, we found they had some amazing customer stories, which big praises to the software that they had developed. So what we did, we went through a process, some workshops we went through, and we did a brand strategy, did some positioning, and researched their customer stories. So first was we working out what their brand story was and understanding who their character is and what they're, as a company, as a brand, based on their values and their positioning and character. And then we followed it through to help flesh out their ideal customer and brand story. And this was so their team can really get to know their customer and understand the pains and desires of them as you create your brand and messaging around them. So this was their ideal customer, which we had developed based on all their research and interviews we had with the existing financial planners. And we focused on this was the most important one. There were and there will be future ideal customer, targeted customers that we'll develop and niche down further down, but this was the most important one. So if you remember the classic storyline, so once upon a time, so what this fleshes out is the first is getting to know who the client is. So this is David, a 45-year-old financial planner. This was the once upon a time he was struggling with his existing processes of how to show a client their plans and investments, doing it the old way. And he struggled and he was spending a lot more time. So this was, he tried to do it himself. And then, he found a solution, so he came across their website, he found them through an advert or read about an article, the I4C, which was the guide. So they showed him the way and the outcome, and the success at the end was, the clients were happy, he spent less time, he increased the value of their investments through clearer understanding and development. So once we clarified that, we visualized and we got them to do a visual mood board. And this helps to start the look and feel of their brand messaging into the look and feel. So once we'd got that, we started getting the look and feel of what they were thinking of, who their ideal clients were and what their perceptions were. So premium, quality, but also helping family. And we came up with the brand logo. And this was based on forward-facing the graphs that they were using, the interactive graphs that we're using in the software. Also, we came up with a little dot on the eye with a smiley face and the two eyes, but it also indicated that we could animate it into graph elements. And then the messaging, which all keyed in with the brand story and his brand story, and their brand story rather, your future in sight. So we've developed the brand website, and it was all the goals were focused on getting them to the financial planner, their ideal customer, to instantly get them to trial their software straight away so they could get 21 days free. And so the first stage was to get them enticed. They could scroll through and read customer stories so they could get that emotional connection with them. They got some detailed insights about their story. So on their About Us page, you could see that they were a UK-based team, real integrity, they put their values up there. And this also not only just helps your ideal customer, but also future staff and more cohesion with your team. So once they launched, this was in May 2018, the final result after their exhibitions, they'd got just up to 220 leads from the past month, and that's from sign-ups alone. So it's been a great success, and it really hit the nail on the head. So those are just the first two brand foundations that I use for my clients. And if you're interested in looking for some help on how to build your brand for success, all you need to do is to contact me is sign up to designball.co.uk/apply. And I've got a few slots available. So when you click the button or when you go onto that website, /apply designball.co.uk, you'll be taken to a calendar page and you'll see all the available slots that I've got on. Just pick a time that suits you. And then after that, you'll be taken to a really quick, short application form. And if you just fill that out, it'll take you 5-10 minutes. And then we'll see you on our call at the time you picked. So let me tell you, I hope I hear from you soon. And if you come on me, it's going to be the best hour you've ever spent working on your business. See you soon. Bye.